Okay, greetings and peace, everyone. My name is Neo, and I'm here to share some new info with the people. uh, got some new information, which is really might not be new to a lot of people, but I have a new term that I've been using for the past few months. After my maybe few months or a year, something like that, after my years of studying relationships. Because I titled myself a relationship anatomist, and what I do is I study, observe, and investigate relationships, human relationships in particular. And I've been doing it for a minimum of 6 or more years. And this is by reading books, this is by reading magazines. And as of late, but I would say the past 3 or more years, it's been just literally examining people on my own. That includes in public and also in private sections of life, and also including my own experiences. I'm really investigating people and learning how the mind works and how people behave, and learning also how societies are run to control people, because there's a lot of mind control that goes on. And once I have activated and increased my intuition to a high level, there's very little to nothing that I have to do nowadays to actually perceive and receive these insights about relationships, the mind, and a variety of things that's going on in this world. And I also receive spiritual transmissions, because everybody, if not everybody, most people, the ones that the spirit side knows that are ready to receive this information, a variety of information. And some of us receive even higher information from like higher realms, and it comes down. And those of us who are ready, that's when spirit dumps this information on us. And it took me a while to really realize that, oh, these are spiritual transmissions that's coming through. It's information. You gotta pay attention to your thoughts, the images that come through your mind, and your feelings that comes through, the energy that comes through. So this is how I get my information, largely regarding relationships and a variety of things of life and higher realms. This is meaning all of my videos, all of the major ones that gives you new information, especially spiritual information. So that's my disclaimer. So this video right here is behavior projections. That's what I call it. And some people call it a variety of other things, but I call it behavioral projections, because these projections come from a person's mind, and they come from a person's mind, and they're projecting out the behavior that they feel is necessary for any given situation. So behavioral projection is this. It's a program, a behavioral program within a person's mind that causes them to behave a certain way. Once you learn how your mind functions, which most people don't know how the mind functions, and that's one of the reasons why I am extremely slow with starting and entering relationships with most people, because most people don't know how to do a variety of things. And the most important thing is that they fail to learn what the mind is, how it functions, how to control it, and how to cultivate it. Because people think that just because they have these material possessions that is considered adulthood and also success, they think that makes them a mature adult. No, you got to learn how to control that mind, and that mind is within yourself, and it's invisible to the physical eye, and you got to learn how to control it. And most people don't know how to control it, so that's why they step on people's toes in their relationships, all of their relationships, and they're stepping on people's toes, so to speak, saying the wrong things and saying random shit out of nowhere. So sometimes I'll be like, well, wait a minute, we were sitting there talking about this. Then why the fuck is she or he saying this and talking about this? It's just stuff. People are not really focused when they're in their relationships, especially nowadays. But anyways, so these programs, the behavioral programs, largely get accepted into a person's mind from the TV. Watching the TV. That's why I say in my previous videos that if you're going to watch TV, then first start studying the mind, and then doing self-reflection on your own mind, so that you can see all of these programs that's going on in your mind that are unnecessary and ones that you have attracted and accepted into your mind. Because when you're young, you're completely even more unconscious of what's going on. So there's a lot of programs that's running in your mind and that's causing you to behave a certain way, that once you identify these programs, just like a computer program, a computer system, you can say to yourself, okay, I don't want this, and this, because this is making me cause this into my relationship, so I have to get rid of this program and this program. Oh, okay. And me, I've been doing a lot of self-reflection throughout the years in personal development, and that's how I well, the spirit guided me, because we, in this physical realm, things appear as mistakes, but the spirit comes through and makes certain things happen and guides us in certain ways so that we can perceive what happens, what's going on, and what we need to see. And it happens a lot, but most humans think that these are just mistakes. But me, whenever something happens, and I think, and it feels like a mistake at first, but then I stop and I think and I scan out as many things as possible, and I think about it as long as possible to see, like, okay, wait a minute now, let me see, this can be the spirit talking, trying to get me to look at something. And a lot of times it is, if not a lot of times, the majority of the times, it's just that a lot of people don't realize what's in front of them. So it's best to investigate what's going on before you start getting angry and saying, oh, I messed up with this, and yada yada yada, and just getting all mad and angry or sad at that. So you got to identify what programs that are currently in your mind, and that's another thing I investigate too. When I'm speaking with people, I can identify the societal programs that they have, because there is a consistent there's a consistent pattern of behavioral programs that a lot of people have, that society puts in people's minds. Let me give you one example. Even programs, I'm going to give you a small example. Programs of what to say within your conversations. Like, one program is when you meet someone, a lot of people say, nice to meet you, after you get done exchanging names. But me, sit down thinking about it, and I do my usual analyzing and intuitive feeling it out. To me, it's like, and I ended up doing the same thing, saying nice to meet you. But when you meet that person, how do you know that it's nice to meet them? Because you never met them before, and you really don't know how they function and how their mind function and the quality of their mind. So how do you know it's nice to meet them? And yes, it might be nice to say that, but just stop and think about it. Why do you say it's nice to meet you? That's that. What's the other thing I can say? That's a society program. I can say it's a society program as far as going to work. Society has made people think that going to a normal 9-to-5 job, whether it be your career that you stumbled into and you really don't like, but you're in there for the money, or it can be there for a regular job which you stumbled in there and you're doing it just for the money. Society has programmed people to think that that is the only source of income that they have to get, is getting a fucking job. And a lot of people don't realize that that goddamn job is actually decreasing your spiritual energy and your physical energy. so that by the time a person comes home, they are exhausted. I've seen that a lot with my mother, and my mother, she had her stinking religion, Jehovah's Witness religion, and she had her job. And her job, she works a lot of overtime, and that she's been like that throughout the years. And then when we see her come into the home, the first thing she does is she fucking argues with everybody, and she doesn't even sit the fuck down and relaxes. So that's one of the major reasons why I'm so happy that I've been moved out of her home years ago, so that I can avoid that come home anger that she just lashes out on all of us. So it decreases your energy if you're in a job that is not of your highest good, that doesn't have to do anything with your spiritual path, and a job that you don't really enjoy. Because that's even my own personal experience ever since I've been working since the age of 15 all the way up to, let's see, 30. Yeah, I'm in my 30s now, because I recently tried to get back into the workplace because I wanted some extra money, but then Spirit kept telling me, nope, don't do it. So that's why I stopped having the job a long time ago, and boy, my energy, it usually stays high as long as I do the right things to keep it high and avoid certain people, because people's energies affect us. And especially those of us who have the empathic sense activated, and especially on high, it affects us tremendously, other people's energy. So we have to learn how to protect ourselves. So that's another behavioral program, is to make people think that. But once people get out of this behavioral program, as far as the job program, I'm telling you, and especially if you have a large imagination, there's so many things that you can do. So many things. And let me give you an example too, is the behavioral program for the blacks, the black melanated people of this world, in America especially. The behavioral program is to get the blacks, especially black males, is to be drug dealers. I'm telling you, I was almost a victim of this mind program. And the mind program is heavy in movies and TV shows. You always, not always, but a lot of times you see the black man or even the black woman, but usually the black woman is playing a hoe or a slut of some sort, hoe to slut, and especially a slut to the white man, because there's a lot of mind control, and black women fall in victim to that, especially for the white man, because the program again too is to think that, is to get black people, and especially, well, I'll say black women in particular, to think that the white males are the economic leaders, and that if the women want to be taken care of financially, they go to the white man. The black women go to the white man. A lot of black women has fallen victim to this, and there's a lot of them that think that that's the way to go. And even if the white man is not really economically set or on a high level financially, there's still a program in the black woman's mind. A lot of them, not all of them. Some of them woken up and it was like, nope, I'm not doing this no more. But even if they're a bum ass white man, they still prefer to go to a white man instead of their own race. And then there's some white women that's the opposite. They go to the black man for a variety of reasons, not only sexually, but just for a variety of reasons. So it is just so fucked up in this world, and especially here in America, because America is the American experiment. A lot of experimentation goes on here in America, and if you have not been studying and investigating this, you are missing out on a lot of stuff that's going on, and you might be a victim of it. So for me, because I came in with more energy as a soul, and I have a different mission, because there's some of us that's supposed to wake up in this lifetime, And there's some people that are supposed to still be asleep. But for me, I'm on my journey to starting my drug dealer career years ago at the age of 17. As I was walking down the street, down the hill, and this was after an argument with my mother. It was an argument with her because I come from a single parent household. Father officially left me at the age of 13, my life in particular, at the age of 13. And there was like so much stress, and that's what society does. It creates stress all the way from the mother's womb, getting her to eat certain ways and do certain ways, and it fucks up your DNA. So and then it does that, and it sets up all of these environmental settings that causes a person to grow up a certain way. And it's all mind control. It starts with all mind control, and the controllers of the society, the influencers of the societies in general, they know what they're doing down to a T. It's a fucking formula to create almost everything, every situation. So that's why I recommend that everybody challenge everything, their childhood and their childhood beliefs and their childhood issues. You got to challenge them and question them and think about them, analyze them, because I'm telling you, it is a lot of stuff that's going on that's unseen. So in anyways, so it happens a lot in the black neighborhood, as far as the single mother or even the single parent. And then a lot of people, they get abused in the, not only blacks, I'm gonna say, because I've seen a lot in my investigation, I'm gonna say in the poor neighborhoods. You got the single mother or father, and then the single mother or father abuses the child, and then the child just goes nuts, and very few people actually recover. However, some of us are spiritually more powerful enough to override all of the DNA first, and override all of the adversity from youth. So for me, after getting into an argument with my mother at the age of, when I was 17, I was about to start somewhere in the drug in environment. I was going to find some way, somehow, to get started in it. And I was working at Pizza Hut too, because I was like, this fucking Pizza Hut is not giving me money either, so I can get the fuck out of my mother's house. Or no, actually I was paying rent. She wanted me to start paying rent, and she was just being an asshole about it. So it's like she was trying to force me to pay rent when I was living with her at the age of 17. When 17, that is the age where a parent is supposed to be still developing the child into an adulthood, at least being that support system. But again, American society doesn't teach this. It teaches parents to retard the maturity process of their child, delaying it. That's why a lot of people still aren't mature, even in their 20s, 30s, and 40s, unless they did their own personal development work to raise themselves up, as I did. Mine started ever since 21 all the way through, I say 30. And then I just kept, each year I just kept getting on a higher and higher level, and spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, in a higher level, after I realized the importance of personal development. And I didn't know what personal development was until I actually started to see the benefits of it. And then now I'm starting to talk about it. So then, as my situation regarding the drug dealer thing, then the spirit came through. All these images came through with all of the things that I could do to make money for myself, that are legal and self-employment. And that's the spirit coming through saying, look, no, don't go that route. You got all of these things, and images was like, and I was paying attention to them as I was walking down the hill slowly. I was like, oh, and I was on the corner actually, before I was going to walk across the street and just talk to somebody on how to get started on start not doing dope, but selling dope. So then I was like, oh yeah, that's true. I can do my graphic design, I can do acting, I can do this, this, and that. And then I just went on to work, went on to Pizza Hut, went on to work that day. And then ever since that day, I never looked back about regarding selling drugs. I never looked back, so I just kept going forward. And me analyzing this, I'm like, oh, I see what's going on. They trying to get the blacks to do the drug dealing so that they can capture them, put them into the prisons, and then make them slaves again. And there is slavery still going on, people. It's just on a more sophisticated, covert level. It's not overt, and especially if you that's why you got to get your intuition right. You got to get your psychic channels open so you can see what the fuck is going on, because this system of things, they don't want to openly show you what's going on by just putting it in the news, saying like, look, this is what we're doing that. Sometimes they do, but they do it because they know a lot of people are dumbed down and they can't perceive what the fuck is going on. So these movies, I study a lot of movies, and I'm going to do more breaking down of movies and letting you know what's going on with certain things that is really going on in this world, like these underground prisons, and some of these people that you look up to a lot. Like, let me go ahead and start talking about this Steve Jobs. Alright, I'm not going to tell you who the character is inside this movie, but go watch this movie Spectra, the James Bond one, the latest one. Go check out the movie, that one. I mean, the Spectra. So this is what I mean by the spirit when it speaks to you. So I was sitting down watching this movie in the theater, right? And I watch these James Bond movies and all movies so that I can get information to see what the fuck is going on. I rarely watch movies for the entertainment, as most people have been trained to do, to watch movies for the entertainment. Back then, before I was on this current psychological consciousness level, I was doing the same thing, just going to see movies for the excitement. But now I first see it to learn. I'm trying to gain as much information as possible so I can keep myself evolving up to higher and higher levels, right? So my purpose was to see what kind of information I can get from this movie. So sitting there watching the movie, there was a scene that came in. When it switched to this new scene, the spirit came through and I saw the words in my mind, the name Steve Jobs, STEVEJOBS, and it was spelling out in my mind, and I was like, oh shit, the spirit is talking about, and they said that is Steve Jobs. So let me tell y'all what they do in these movies, these Illuminati people. What they do is they'll create a front storyline just to put in front of you and to get most of the viewers to think that that's what the movie is about. But however, behind that front and all around it, there is a lot of shit that's going on, and all of the extra stuff that's going on, that's the real deal stuff. That's the real deal stuff. And this is covert stuff that is, you got to be on a certain psychological and spiritual level to really be able to perceive through the fog of what's really going on. Just like these cartoon movies. These cartoon movies, people think that these are just for little kids, but no, there's symbology and a lot of shit that's going on in the background. But let's focus on this. So in the movie, there's this character who is put into the movie, and the movie is telling you what Steve Jobs has been doing throughout the years, and how he's part of, I think he's part of the Illuminati too, or some kind of secret society, and he does a lot of shit to be a part of mind control, and he is really abusive. People only saw that he's abusive verbally throughout what the public has been able to see throughout his movie, and what the news has been telling people. But this dude is way, way more evil than you think and have been shown. And what you've seen in the public is a behavioral projection that Steve Jobs has been putting out to make you think he's happy-go-lucky and that he's this genius of a guy. And a lot of the stuff that he claims to be the creator of, he has not been the creator of it. There has been a lot of people, and you see that the Wozniak dude, his friend, you saw the shit that he did as far as creating the physical part. That's just one aspect. And then you saw what Steve Jobs did to fuck him out of the deal. That's just one little thing that you've seen. But this dude, he fucked over a lot of people, and then he went on to make millions and billions of dollars. So by day, he's one person, but behind the scenes, he's a totally different person. Switch flaps, whatever you want to call it, into a totally different person. And that behavioral projection, people fell for it for many years, and I was one of them too, because I looked at him a lot. I mean, looked to him as a pioneer, as a good guy, and I actually liked him because I first learned on a Apple when I was in elementary school. That was my first computer, and ever since then I was on PCs for a little while because that was the only thing that was accessible to me in high school. But after a while, I started to really investigate Apples. I'm like, man, I like Apples. So ever since then, I like Apples, and I'm excited to. Well, I'll forget about that. But anyways, he switched, and that's what's going on with a lot of people. They're so-called mature adults by day, and that's the appearance. But then behind the scenes, they're totally different people, and that's Steve Jobs. You got to watch that movie. I'm gonna let you sit there and figure out who the fuck they showing as Steve Jobs. I mean, who symbolizes Steve Jobs in the movie? Because what they do is in these movies, they'll put the movie out and they'll put somebody as a symbol of somebody who is actually in the real world, who's still alive or who died. It doesn't matter. They still put it out there. But if you got that, you're on that spiritual level, you can identify who that person is. Like, oh shit, that's supposed to be such and such. But they won't put the real name in the movie. If they will put it, they might like twist the person's name. They'll twist the person's name, and then it'll sound like it, but you got to pay attention to the person's name too. That's another thing you got to analyze. Pay attention to the person's name. And I'm going to go back and watch that movie again too, to see what else I can pick up from it. But it's some evil people. And the person that you think you know, they're more than likely not that person. And let me give you an example too. My mother. My mother is a Jehovah's Witness. She still is Jehovah's Witness. And she's the only one that's still in it as far as our family. Her and two other people. All her children, all of us, we rejected that. And everybody that she studies with and brings under her belt, rejected it. Everybody did. So for me, if I was in that shit and I realized that everybody around me is rejecting this shit, I would stop and think like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going on? Everybody that I studied with regarding this religion, they all rejected it. So let me then go ahead and investigate this religion and see what the fuck is going on and why they are rejecting it. But my mother is under the Jehovah's Witness mind control. And there is mind control going on in all religions, including the Jehovah's Witness religion. There is mind control. And the Jehovah's Witness religion is part of the Illuminati. Yeah, go do your work. Go do your work. I knew something was weird, and something weird with all these white men too. These white men being in control of that religion too. And when you got fortunately, at least they allow the blacks to be elders, but any higher than that, it's mostly white. It's mostly white men. It's mostly white men in control. Just like in this world, it's just a bunch of white men. This is a white Caucasian society. That's why I don't care about doing a lot in this fucking society, and it's already failing. It's already failing. It is falling apart quickly, and there are people that are really, really scared, running around scared, trying to keep this shit up, and this projection. It's another projection to make y'all think that everything is okay. But I'm telling you, the spirit will show you when you're ready. You might not think that you're ready, but it will show you, like, look, this is what's going on. The money system is falling apart. This planet is already falling apart. This physical realm is actually falling apart. We are in the apocalypse. I'm telling you, it's just a projection that's holding it up. And this white society, what they're doing too is they're building new buildings in your city, in your town, to make you think that everything is okay and everything is thriving. And when I walk around downtown and I see these guys building up these new buildings, I'm like, man, oh man, they just don't know that that building is going to be falling down any moment. Any moment now. These buildings downtown in your city could just fall down. You already see the sinkholes in this the world, in different parts of the world. It's sinkholes, and they're crushing down buildings. The sinkholes, that's this physical realm is falling apart, and it's time for us to just focus on the spiritual self much more than we do our human life. That's why with me, when people are around me, they're wondering, like, why does he do this? Why doesn't he have this? And me, I don't have no job. I don't have a vehicle. I never had a vehicle. Never cared about having a vehicle until my mother and father would. Well, I didn't even care about having my own license until my mother and father was pressuring me to have that. They were trying to encourage me to get my own vehicle, but I never cared about either. And then so I went ahead and got my license a long time ago, so that I can actually do driving at least, and borrow somebody else's car. And that's what I always did, is whenever I wanted to go somewhere that required a car, I would always borrow somebody else's car. But other than that, I never cared about having my own vehicle. And I see why. There's a lot going on with these vehicles. And even going to get a loan for the vehicle is actually a fucking scheme. It's a lot going on. And people are still under that world mind control. So back to behavioral projection. So the average person, and just about everybody does the behavioral projection. I do it, and I did it. It's just that now I'm conscious of it, and I can control it, and I know how to behave in certain ways, and how to put it on, the projection on, in different situations. Because sometimes living in this world, you have to put on that projection in certain situations, especially if you're a black man in this society. this white man society too. There's certain things you got to do, and you got to recognize who you are as a black person, as far as spiritually and physically, because there's a lot going on that this society does not want you to know as a black melanated person, melanated being, with the melanin inside your body. What matters most is the melanin inside your brain, the neuromelanin, and inside your central nervous system. You can look black, but that melanin outside of you is just to protect you from the sun. That right there really doesn't do too much as far as helping you psychologically and spiritually. But the inner melanin is what matters most. And even there's some white people that really actually are black. And there's mixed mulatto people that look white. A lot of them really, really look white. But you gotta really, really look, and you intuitively know, like, okay, that person is mixed. There's a lot of these actresses, because I like mulatto women anyways, as I said in one of my other videos. But these women, these actresses, they really do look white, but you gotta pay attention, and you can see, okay, that one is mixed. But you gotta look at all of the characteristics of the mulatto ones, because with this DNA being mixed, and people having sex with all these different people, the DNA being mixed, it does a lot of things. There's not one characteristic of one thing in particular in general. There's not one thing. Like, I used to think that all mulatto people in general were all light skinned. No, there's darker skinned mulattoes, and I didn't realize that until years ago. There's a lot of stuff going on, especially in this American experiment. A lot of stuff. It is ridiculous, and you gotta get on your investigation game to see what the fuck is going on. So, to sum this up, the behavioral projection is a projection that an individual puts out to the world that causes them to behave a certain way to make you believe that they are a certain way. But in actuality, and sometimes it's a cover-up for whatever reason. Well, it's a cover-up for whatever reason, and a lot of people, they covering up to cover up their unresolved childhood issues and their psychological issues in general to make you think that they're normal. So I'll give you an example. Most of these Jehovah's Witnesses of my mother's congregation, they think that my mother is normal, and they think that she's a nice woman, which she is in some aspects. But when she deals with us, we see her children as her children. We see her the other side, and she is fucked up. She is really fucked up. The stuff that she says to us, and she talks shit a lot more in text versus us face to face, because she's not confident to say what she has to say face to face, especially to me, because she knows that I'll say some shit that will get her to sit the fuck down and start crying, because I'm bold enough now and I can dominate her psychologically, and she know that I won't back down from her at all, because I spotted out all of her mind control tactics, because parents do that. Just like I said in my parental mind control video, a lot of parents, if not all parents, have some form of mind control that they still play out on their child, regardless of how old the child is, and it's up to you to identify what's going on and learn how to combat it. And me, I identify all her major and minor things, mind control, and the only reason why her children and grandchildren are still even around my mother is because they fall victim to her mind control, and they still want to be around her for the money. Because my mother, what she'll do is, all of us don't want to be around her. All four of us don't want to be around her at all. And the last two, the youngest, me and my youngest sister, we absolutely avoid her. And especially the last thing that my mother did, I avoid her completely. I don't even talk to her anymore unless I feel that it's necessary. Because she always say some dumbass childish shit that just fucks everything up. We can be normal as fuck and everything being good, but then her dumbass childish unresolved issues, especially with men, because I'm a man, especially a black man, and she's been her father, she had unresolved issues with him, unresolved issues with my father, and then that translates into the fuckery that as a result with me. So then some of her childhood issues, they come out at the wrong time, and she says some fucked up shit, and then it just fucks up the whole situation, and everybody was like, oh, like, here she go with this shit. So then we just end up dealing with it at the time, and then we end up wanting to just walk away and just leave the situation. And it could be in a family environment, and then we just leave. We just all want to go, and we just separate from the situation. So by day, when she's around her Jehovah's Witnesses, she's like, oh, hey, everything's all right. And then behind the scenes, she's lazy as fuck, because she's tired and she worked those overtime hours. She's tired, so she don't end up doing much besides cleaning and going to the store and buying, consuming. She's doing the exact opposite of what her good book, the Bible, says as far as being materialistic. And when we moved out of her house, when we was younger, in our early years, she would always teach us about not being non-materialistic, and she really wasn't that materialistic. And I realized like she really wasn't materialistic because she didn't have the money to be materialistic. But now that we left, she does more overtime and her pay increased, and she watches a lot of TV. And when we was in our childhood years, she was telling us not to watch TV, and she would do more reading. So it seems like everything that she taught us, I'm the one in particular that's doing the opposite of what she's doing. I'm doing more reading, and I'm avoiding watching TV on the most part. And like I said in my other video, I only watch it whenever I'm at somebody's house who watches TV, so that I can be respectful to them. And I do a lot of other things that she brought us up to do, but then she's doing the complete opposite. So she is going backwards. She's going backwards. She's devolving instead of evolving. So it's a projection that she puts out to the Jehovah's Witnesses wherever she goes, that everything is happy-go-lucky. So these elders, they don't know what the fuck is going on with her as far as the behind-the-scenes stuff and how evil she is to her children. They don't know it. They don't know it. So that's why the next time one of these elders from the congregation, because they all like me, all of the people in that congregation that I came from, they all like me and they want me to come back. But that's one of the reasons why I avoid visiting, because they want me to come back. So I'm like, no, But the next time I see one of these elders, I'm gonna tell them like, look, my mother is fucked up, and I'm not telling you no more lies that everything is okay between her and I and her children. She has way too many issues and she needs therapy, and she tries to deny it consistently. She's in a high level of denial. So that's her projection, behavioral projection. And these movies, they do behavioral projections like the movie Mrs. and Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Go see that movie with Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt. During the day, they're just normal people, but behind the scenes, they're spies. And when people say like, look, this person is this, because the average person has been perceiving the behavioral projection of an individual, when you tell them that they're this, and this, they're an assassin or anything else, the average person are like, no, they're a nice person, they wouldn't do this and that. They fell victim for that behavioral projection. Go see the movie The Accountant with Ben Affleck. That's one of the newest behavioral projections movies. He's an accountant by day, and most people don't know that this motherfucker is a assassin. He's an assassin, and he's serious with that sniper gun. He's serious. That's one of the movies of the behavioral projection. These movies, they put on a lot of movies that's showing you these behavioral projections and what's going on. Let me see if I can come up with another movie off the top of my head. Man, there's a lot of them. Just think of any movie where they're disguising themselves, whatever they are, and then they're totally something else. Like Catching Up with the Joneses, whatever that new movie is, The Joneses, where they act like they regular, normal neighborhood people during the day. There's rich, wealthy people during the day. They're a couple. The one with Gal Gadot, whatever is the newest one, but then they're actually CIA agents or some kind of agents behind the scenes. That goes on a lot, both in real life and also these movies are telling you what's going on, what's really going on. So with me knowing this, I know to avoid falling for the person's first impression, because society encourages people to fall for to work on that first impression and focus on that as far as the individual. When they meet new people, they always say you only get one time to be for your first impression. So everybody's focusing on that, on themselves, like, okay, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And so when you meet people, very few people are actually themselves, because they don't even have the confidence to be themselves in the beginning. Anyways, when they meet people, so they gotta put on some kind of projection. So for me, studying this and investigating this and knowing how the mind works and these projections work, I know to avoid falling predominantly for that first impression that people bring me, to avoid that. And you got to be in certain situations, certain environments to set them up, and then eventually they'll just either completely drop that behavioral projection, or they'll gradually drop it, and then you're like, okay, this is the real one. And you can intuitively feel and energetically feel like when the projection is up and when it's down. I know the difference now. So that's it for now. That's behavioral projection. And be careful when people present you their behavioral projection. The first time they meet you, that's usually their behavioral projection. Very rarely do they present them their real selves, because very few people are too scared to do that, and their ego won't allow them to do it. That's why you got to learn how the ego works and what it is. And maybe I'll do a video about the egos and how it functions and all the different things it does to get you to do and behave and say certain things. Alright, till next time, like, comment, share, subscribe. Peace out.